Okay, so this we were talking about the private and public interests, right? So what the hands-on what we'll do is we'll create a very basic EC2 instance and we'll see what are the IP addresses by default AWS creates it over there. So once it's there, the second option what we'll see is in those IP addresses, how do I attach a static IP to it? Okay, that's what we are going to have a look at it today. So if you'd like to follow me, you can open your own AWS console and try to follow me. Otherwise, you can have this video on recorded and later you can go over yourself. Okay, anything is fine with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a very simple EC2 machine. We were done this last time, but this time I'm not going and creating many many of the conversation. I'm going to keep it very simple. Click on launch instance. Choose the Linux to the first option, leave the default one in the next one, right? Then I'm not going to other places. I'm saying review and launch. Okay, before this. So I'm going for a review and launch. When I go for review and launch, right, it asks for a key pair. I'm creating a new key pair. Demo 4, download the key pair, then launch instance. Okay, I know it a little faster, but step 1, 2. Then after that, what I did, I went and reviewed and launch. After review and launch, I created a new key pair. Then I brought up my instance up and running. This instance is started running now. Okay, the instance is up and running. So what I'll do is I click on the instance. So when I click on the instance, and you can see there is a private IP address, right? So this place is given me a private IP address. Not only that, so the public IP address also given here because there's an option in uh, step number 3 to configure instances. You can choose to create a public IP address or not. Okay, so I got two IP addresses. One is private, the another one is a public. So what I'm going to do is let's note down this one somewhere. So reference. Give me a minute. I kept it for my reference. I just copied it and kept my reference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart this instance. Okay, let's go back to the instances. I think this is what we checked it, right? 226 maybe. The public IP address. Let me just quickly note it down as well. This one is private. Instance ID is this. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to restart this machine. I'm going to stop and restart, right? I'm saying stop instance. The instance has been stopped now. I want to reboot this one. It's just stopping. I'm sorry, it's not stopped yet. Give it a minute. So what I'm expecting is this IP address to change dynamically. Okay. So as you could see, I stopped instance and started. The IP address is what I was noted down, 226 has gone, right? Your public IP address also gone, right? So once the machine is started, you'll see a new IP is assigned to it. But you know, so 226 was my public IP, and you can see this IP has been changed to something else. So this is what we are talking about. The allotment of these public IP addresses are dynamic windows. Okay, we will not be doing it in the other way. Okay. Now I want to assign a static IP to this machine. So what will I do? On the left side, you go and find something called elastic IPs. The left side menu, you go and find something called elastic IPs and click on allocate elastic IP address, right? So how do I find? On the EC2 service, I click on elastic IPs, then click on allocate elastic IP address. Here, there are options. Look at this option. The first option to tell you, this is from Amazon's pool of IP addresses. So Amazon actually buys a set of IP addresses and they keep it within themselves. So you can request Amazon to allocate one of the IP addresses to you, to your account. And in account, maximum you can have 5 IP addresses. And again, these IP addresses are going to cost. So there'll be a billing generated the moment you have it, how long you're using this IP address. What I did, allocate elastic IP address, then I just clicked on allocate. So what it did, it gave me an allocated IP address, which is a 68, right? Let's see. This is the elastic IP address which I got. This is step number one. The step number one, to go and get a elastic IP address assigned to you, right? So this is there with you. Now what I click on here, this is my elastic IP address which I purchased. Then I go to actions, associate elastic IP address. Right? What I'm doing, I'm clicking on that, then I go to actions, clicking on associate elastic IP addresses. When I do that, I have two options. Either I can assign to a network interface or I can assign this to an instance. Now I'm choosing an instance option here, right? And I'm going to choose that instance which I'm running. So let me just quickly see the instance ID. Let's assign this to 2A. Just hold on 1 minute, please. Okay, let's try to assign this to 167. Okay, so the machine is to AA. So this is the instance which I like to associate this IP address to. All right, click on associate. The elastic IP address associated successfully. Now, when I click on this particular one, right, instances, the 2A instance. Yeah, here it is. So look at this elastic IP address, right? You got a public IP addresses, which is like a 45.68, right? And you can see the same address is there. Even when I go and restart this instance state, right? When I want to reboot this instance. When I'm rebooting the instance, for example, that IP address will remain same. You see, it's just rebooting it, I believe. If not, I'll do it one more time. If you want. I'll stop and restart. Stop instances. Stopping now. Let it stop. And then even when I start, this IP address will remain same because I have associated static IP. Are we clear in this one? Is there any questions so far with Elastic IP? Okay, refresh. Okay, let give it a minute to start, then we'll start. Okay, right. So that's about Elastic IP addresses. I'll go to the next one, but if you have any questions, please do let me know. Right. We'll be looking at a little more in detail of EC2 purchasing option now, because last time we have seen this while creating the EC2 instance, but let's have a quick look at how exactly the spot instance requests or reserved instances or dedicated instances or dedicated host are working for you. We'll be having a look at that. Okay, just before that, let me just quickly see if it's been shutting down. All right. We'll go and click on stop instance. Just what time. We're just taking time today, unfortunately. But anyway, we'll move to the next one. So the second option is something called spot instance. Do you remember where the option to choose a spot instance price was given while creating EC2? If you know that, just type it in the chat box. I will monitor. Or else I will show you. Okay. So where do I go and request for a spot instance? Okay. So in your AWS management console, here you have something called spot request on the left side, right? Click on the spot request. This is the spot request. Okay. So what you can do is you can go for a spot instances request. Click on request spot instances. So when you click on it, normally there is, very small things like, for example, what kind of application that you need. Do you need it for a big data workloads, right? Where we have size of any size but single availability zone, or do you need any flexible workloads, right? Large instance of any size in any availability zone, good for running CI/CD jobs, and again defined duration workloads, which will be like 1 to 6 hours only. It will not be running for long. So, but let me just do load balancing workloads. I use this default one, the first one I use, load balancing workloads, right? Then I have to go and create a launch template. Okay, so let's say demo EC2 config. I'm using a launch template. I'm using that. Then if I come back all the way down, right? Yeah. So this is your EC2 configuration settings, right? What is your AMI, right? And what type of machine it is, what is your VPC, what is your availability zones, and what is the key pair that you're going to use. All those things you'll choose. And this is not nothing but your demo launch configuration. Okay. So here, once I choose that, the spot request, the fleets, right? We call them as a fleet of service, means that more than one service, right? So we come and apply the recommendations based on our choice on the first one for load balance workloads, right? Here, if I come back, it says either you request for T2 micro or T2 small, anything is fine, small change. And when you do the spot instance, you'll normally get around 70% discount compared to the on-demand request. Okay, so it gives you a fleet strength, which is weak. Why? Because I'm saying only target capacity is 1. So if I say target capacity equal to 5, right? So what's going to happen is I might maintain target capacity interruption behavior terminate or stop or hibernate. I can choose that I want 5 instances up and running in the spot at a time. Okay, so then I can go back and click on launch. What this will do is the prices, what are you comes in here, right? You have to bid. Your fleets will be up and running as soon as the price what you gave is ready, and this particular machines will be allocated to you. We call them as fleet of EC2 instances. So this is a place where you go on request for a spot request. Other place, other than this, the second option is from instances. When you click on launch instance, right? The step number 3, the confidentials, right? Here also we can go great. How? Just let me just select the default one, go to confidentials. And here if you see the purchasing option is coming over here. This is the second place. When you check on this one, it shows what is my current price in the region. It allows me to bid. I can say 0.004, which is higher than your current availability, the current bid price. Then this particular instance will be allocated to me. Okay, two options. One, you can go to the console. From the console, you can go back and look for spot instance. Option number 2, and while creating an instance on the step number 3, you can bid for a price only for the single instance. Okay. Let's come back to the presentation. Let's look at some characteristics. These are theory that it needs for the examinations, right? So they have given it because the questions would be around this regarding a spot instance. So you'll get up to 90%, though guaranteed not guaranteed 90%, get up to 90% compared to on demand, right? So you define a spot price, and the instance spot price is less than the maximum number of price what you get, then the instances will be assigned to you. Okay, and you also have option called spot instance blocks, means that you'll be running that for a very short workloads, 1 to 6 hours time. Okay, so this is things are the use cases are very important. They are normally used for a batch jobs, data analysis, or a one-time workloads, right? Which are fail safe or resilient to failures. What do you mean by resilient to failures? Where it have ability to restart without impact. So what does that mean? So I have a table A. I'm creating extract, right? So say sales extracts. So this is a job which I'm running every weekend. So while extracting, say 1 million records here, while extracting these records to the file, the job got failed. Okay, the job got failed in between means then you can restart the job. Then it will just there's no impact, but just going to reprocess again one more time, but same thing the extract will get generated. Similarly, whenever you run this kind of batch jobs, you have ability to restart even though it failed in between. Why it fails in between? When your price, the bid price, whatever you given, right? Your bid price is less than your market price. The instance will be with you. The moment your market price goes up than your bid price, what will happen is your instance will be terminated in 2 minutes notice. Within 2 minutes, I mean, in 2 minutes before, you'll get an option that saying that your instance is getting terminated because the spot price has been increased, right? So your job will fail. What happens when you fail the job? All you do is you create another spot instance to a bit little higher, and then you go and restart it, right? That's what they call as resilient to failures, right? And this is cannot be used for a critical jobs or for databases which requires a high integrity, and it cannot fail while doing it. Okay. right? So this is the pricing we just talked about. Whenever this price goes up and down, based on that, your instance will be terminated. Okay. So this gives you a little more details on how to terminate the spot instances. Okay. So when you are actually launching instance here, when you're actually launching instance here, right? What happens that you've got a maximum size, number of instances, all those things you do it, right? When these things are launching instances, right? You go on stop, then start. If you say start, what happens? It comes all the way here and looks for the prices again, then it launches, right? Any interruption happen in between, something has got deleted because when you say interrupted, like the spot prices went up, your machine got terminated, again it will go one more round up here, do the same spot request verifications. So if it is allocated, then the new instance will be created. So this is a cycle, it will always repeat one after another. Okay, so this is a spot fillet which I showed you on the window, all right? And it's a set of spot instances. Plus, you can also buy some on-demand instances if you need. Okay, so the when you actually define these fleets, right, spot flips, right? So you actually define what is your target capacity, like 5, right? Then you use something called a launch template, right? We gave what are the instance type and AMIs that you need to use, right? And when you want to allocate a spot instances, how does it work, right? For a short workload, if there is a lowest price, then go and use divide. And second thing is diversified, distributed across all pools. Third one, capacity optimized. If you have the machines ready, use that with your optimal capacity for number of instances that you want to bring up and running. Okay, so the one good thing is if you are using this spot fillets, right, you don't have to manually bid for it. The other place, let me also quickly show you. When you went here to launch an instance, what happens? You have to give a price. But when you are actually creating a spot fillets, right, and nowhere you are actually giving a request. Will not be actually bidding. The bidding is automatically taken there by the AWS for you, right? So here it also gives you estimated price based on the availability of the price, right? The current spot prices, it will increase. The strategy will be increased. So if your current price, the highest price is like 302, right, for C5 large, when if you are requesting for that particular spot, it'll actually put one more 303 SG 304. It'll put slightly higher so that you will have a machines allocated to you. This is entirely automatic. Okay, so when you launch the spot flips, so the bidding will be taken by the system itself. Automatically, it will bid for you.